And they have a history of response when that starts to take shape. And they might or might not ask our permission, and yet we could very easily be drawn into a situation like that. They would be flying American weapons, dropping American-made bombs, defending their country with American missiles, and we would be perceived as assisting, whether or not we really did, I believe, an attack into Iran. And I'm trying to paint for you a picture of a precipice out there that we all are approaching, I think, almost on a week-by-week basis. So, ladies and gentlemen, none of those are good options. This faces us, it's real, but I think my estimate, and I believe it's echoed in the Joint Chiefs of Staff, is that there are no good options for the situation we face. Otherwise, you might have taken one of them already. But there is, and this gets to our discussion today of the MEK and to some degree Camp Arashaf, there is what's called the third option, and that is change from within. And the idea that potentially what the MEK and the folks at Arashaf represent is the way where there can be change, we can avoid conflict, and young men and women don't have to die. My experiences with the folks at Arashaf were direct, but they were limited. When we, after we secured Baghdad, we had responsibility for some MEK members who lived in a camp to the southwest of where we were located. It wasn't good news that we were going to have terrorists in the middle of our presence trying to do what we were doing at that point. So I sent my operations officer and the battalion commander who was responsible for the area down to talk with these people and determine intent. They came back shaking their heads, saying, these people are not terrorists. They're no more terrorists than the framers of our own Constitution. To be left alone, to get along well with the tribes, and what we do is sort of our business. Later, when I was the commandant, the Marine Corps assumed responsibility for securing Camp Arashaf. And of course, on one of my fairly frequent visits into the theater, I had the opportunity to go there and see my Marines and talk with the people there. And again, that same thought process prevailed. Normal people, just like any of us, wanting to live free, not happy with what's happening on the other side of the border, but doing what they could, not in a terrorist manner, but in terms of staying active, staying heard, and wanting to change what they thought was an irresponsible government. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened there a few months ago now is pure outrage. We, as a nation, had, and it's been said many times, a moral responsibility for the protection of those people. We took their weapons. We put them in an enclosure. They don't have much freedom of movement. They're simply contained in an area that's probably a couple square miles. And then they become targets. You know, we teach our youngest private a sense of moral responsibility when it comes to warfare, when it comes to dealing with your enemy. We have, I think, a moral responsibility, I would say further, a moral imperative as a nation to effect those same kinds of responsibilities in dealing with the nation now that has allowed it to take place and the people that have been subjected to it. And it's that responsibility that's been talked about, I think, a good bit now, that we need to stand up to. Let me just close by saying, though, that a nation will do what is in their best interest to do. You can never predict how a nation will respond because those conditions will change. Those dynamics will be different. But it's my firm belief that we need to enlist the support of those people represented in Ashraf to help us with this pending crisis that we have, lest there be a conflict in our future, unlike anything we've seen now for decades. Thank you for being here today.